Let's get the restream chat going on. Checking. Can I hear myself? Nope. Refresh the stream, because you know how it works. Let's see if I can hear me. Hello, hello, hello. Testing 1, 2, me. Testing 1, 2, me. There I am. I'm here finally, so I can turn off. It's no longer starting soon. Now we're starting right now. And hi. Hello. Welcome to the live taping of Podcast Pontifications. I am your host, your guide for the episode. That'll make more sense in just a moment. Evo Terra. Today's topic is, yes, in fact, you can be an expert on your podcast without being a jerk about it. Yeah. That's what I'm going to talk about for you today, with all of us here today. Thanks for joining me if you are watching live. If it's your first time watching live, please note, this is not really, it's a live stream, but I'm not a live streamer. Now, I'm a podcaster, and I do this show, Podcast Pontifications, 4 days a week, and I put it out as a live stream for two reasons. One, there's a handful of people who like to watch me do it live, and they can leave comments in the chat window like Arlen Ambler has just done right there on Facebook. Good morning, Arlen. Pleasure to have you with me here, sir. The other reason is because I'm just better in front of a camera. I think understanding your strengths and weaknesses is an important part of conveying information. And even though I've been podcasting for a very long time, 17 years as of last week, there are things I'm better at, and there are things that I'm not great at. And I'm not great at staring at a blank wall. So instead of that, I turn the camera on, do the show, and then it gets released a little bit later. So yeah, you're watching the behind-the-scenes-y stuff, and while I think it's lovely that I have 3 people watching me right now, it's not instrumental to my success. No, because I will take everything I'm about to say when the actual real live show starts. I've got a series of notes that are going to be on the screen here that will guide me through this episode. Once that's all done, I will make this all available at podcastpontifications.com. Release it as a podcast, obviously, but I also rewrite every single word, make it seem a little more coherent, because again, I'm using notes, and I say things that I kind of go off the rails a bit, so I clean all that up for the written material, and I put it over there. Anyhow, that's what's going on. In the off chance that you were new, I'm wearing the new t-shirt. This is the Buzzsprout t-shirt. I'm going to stand all the way up so you can see it. Buzzsprout. So, it's a very cool t-shirt. I was, just before I hit the stream button, ouch, I was holding my phone up trying to get a good picture. But because this shirt is so long, the actual logo on the shirt is so long, it's difficult to capture a good image. So I'm going to have to wait until I'm done recording, and then I'll get my lovely wife, Sheila, to come in here and take a picture. And that I will share in the Advancing Podcasting community. I'll probably also share it on Twitter. Advancing Podcasting community, by the way, if you haven't yet joined, advancingpodcasting.xyz. Jump in there. Great conversations. Some real excellent thought leaders in the podcasting space. I'm humbled that so many have come and share their knowledge and wisdom in with the community. So it's great. And it's free. Podcasting, the Advancing Podcasting community at advancingpodcasting.xy and z. Also, one more quick note. Do you notice how the video's gotten better? I have no idea why it's the case. I really don't. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I'm such not a video guy, but what are you going to do? All right. So as promised, I'm going to share with you. I'm going to guide you through this conversation that is entitled, "You Can Be an Expert on Your Podcast Without Being a Jerk About It." Hopefully something I embody. I know it's something I haven't always embodied. So yeah. Being real talk here. All right, let's read the cold open and get. Oh, I did not actually expand this. Ooh, that's all in single line. I need to add view. No, not view. Format. Line and paragraph. Add space after paragraph. Oh, there we go. Some breathing room. The power of white space. Okay. Here's the cold open. Make sure it's cold open. Yeah. Just the facts, ma'am. Said, "Just the facts, ma'am. Just the facts, ma'am." I'm trying to do my best Dragden impersonation. "Just the facts, ma'am." I'm not good with impersonations. I'm just going to say it this way. "Just the facts, ma'am," said no podcast listener. Try that again. "Just the facts, ma'am," said no podcast listener ever. Yet podcasting directories are filled with niched-down podcasters proclaiming their expertise. Is that what your audience truly wants? Yeah, that's how I'm going to say it. All right, let's get QuickTime up here. Let's just go, shut up, Grammarly's for Safari. You should be turned on every time, but you're not. I don't know why. All right, here we go. I'm bringing down the volume a little bit. It's a little hot, so there is now. It's not peaking anywhere. Good. Sorry about that. All right, I'm going to increase my volume so I can hear me. Oh, much better. All right, here we go. Audio recording on. Video recording on. Good morning, Allie. I'm a little phlegmy once again today. We'll see how it goes. Just the facts, ma'am, said no already. Try again. Just the facts, ma'am, said no podcast listener ever. Yet podcasting directories are filled with niched-down podcasters proclaiming their expertise. Is that what your audience truly wants? Hello and welcome to another Podcast Pontifications with me, Evo Terra. I've never been comfortable with the term expert or guru as applied to me in podcasting. Heck, in anything really, if I'm honest about it. And yeah, I suppose in podcasting I do tick all the boxes someone is likely to set forth for an expert or a guru, but I still bristle at the term and always have. Perhaps you feel the same way about your role on your podcast. Well, I have a new way for you to perhaps think about it, if that makes you uncomfortable, or perhaps even if you are totally comfortable. And yes, I'm going to help you think about it in the form of a question. And here it is. Are you an expert? Or are you a guide? A better way to ask that question might be, does your audience want you to be an expert? Or do they want you to be a guide? I'm going to give you two unrelated to podcasting examples about what I mean. On our recent trip to Belize, I love Belize, we took a tour up Monkey River to, see howler monkeys, hence the name. We also saw a bunch of bats, iguanas, birds, even a little baby crocodile. It was so cute. And our guide was just that. He was a guide. He'd grown up on the river and in the jungle, and guiding people is a large part of what he does every day. Now, what he is not is he's not an expert biologist. He's not a biologist at all. He didn't study biology in college. He didn't get his PhD. But he knows an incredible amount of information about the flora and fauna of a 5 square kilometer area that he grew up in. In fact, he is so much of an expert, if you will, in that area that research scientists, actual experts with PhDs and whatnot, hire him to guide them to various places as they conduct their research. But I don't want so that makes sense for him, right? I want a guide going up the river. I don't want to hang out with just a scientist. However, I don't want a guide when I go see my neck and shoulder specialist next week to find out whether or not this is a pulled muscle or maybe I've got a bulging disc. No, I've actually selected and specifically sought out a medical doctor, an orthopedist. We're not going on a journey together, right? So something is wrong, and I want to know how to fix it. That's an expert for you. So back to podcasting and what your audience wants from you. While there are instances where the audience does, in fact, want to hear from an expert, chances are, the rest of the time, they want a guide. In many cases, your expertise is going to shine through as you guide them. Sometimes your expertise will shine through more than anything else, like if you're talking about tax implications or educating people on how black holes form or maybe discussing the history of military coups in Thailand, for example. But a podcast that just lays out facts from experts or perhaps facts from an expert is, boring. About as boring as reading a research paper or a white paper. So if the bulk of your audience now is made up of other experts who just want you to recite the facts to them, then I suppose that's okay. Be an expert all the time. But I'm betting that that's not the case. It's likely that even if your show is tightly niched down, you have people listening to you that have different levels of skill set and mastery. So if, when you're talking in your expert voice to your audience, you find yourself saying, well, it depends, when answering questions, your next words, chances are, will be in the voice of a guide and not an expert. Because being a guide means that you recognize that there's no one right way to present your ideas on your podcast, though there certainly may be lots of wrong ways that you have strong opinions about, opinions which you should voice vociferously. Being a guide also means that you recognize you don't have all the answers to share on your podcast, though you probably do know the general direction of answers, or the general directions where those answers are likely to come from. Being a guide also means that you recognize that the role that serendipity and circumstance plays in your podcast listeners' lives. Lives that might look quite different from your own. So reflect back on the last few episodes of your show and the approach you take overall to podcasting. Are you being the know-it-all expert, or are you helping your audience? Is your audience, a better way to say that is your audience relying on you to be the best guide you can be for them? Now, if you got any value at all out of this episode, please consider returning some of that value by visiting podcastpontifications.com/value for value. There you will find lots of ways, like you can buy me a coffee if you want to, and also links to some new podcast apps, newpodcastapps.com, new podcast apps that will let you stream value to podcasters like me who you listen to. It's a novel way of rewarding podcasters for the excellent content that they produce, and that is a growing way people are actually funding podcasters. So check it out. It's all at podcastpontifications.com/value for value. That's it. I shall be back tomorrow with yet another podcast, Pontifications. Cheers. Stop the video. Stop the audio. Okay, one throat clear I got to find in the middle of that, but hey, that's what happens when you're phlegmy. What are you going to do? So there you go. That was my thoughts about being a guide as opposed to being an expert. I hope some of that, or better yet, all of that resonated with you. If it did, wonderful. Thanks again. Value the podcastpontifications.com/value for value. If in fact you got a lot out of that, that'd be helpful. Also, quickly, advancingpodcasting.xyz is a free community that you can join that a lot of people who listen to Podcast Pontifications, podcasters who want to get better, are there. Advancingpodcasting.xyz is a place to do that. And oh, by the way, if you're just now joining the live stream, well, you missed it. It's over. And while you could back up 13 minutes and 22 seconds, why do that? Because the finalized version, 3 versions of this, well, 2 of the 3 versions will be done in 2 hours and 47 minutes. That is the audio as well as the article. I'm about to sit down for the next couple of hours and rewrite every word that tumbled forth from my face. I'm going to rewrite it into a nicely readable document. And I will email that to every single person who has signed up for it. It's free. You go to podcastpontifications.com and you put in your email address, and you will get that email from me at 10 o'clock with those exact words. No, it's not a link to an article. There's no read more. It's read everything in your email. If that's what you want to do. I also will put a link to the audio file. I recommend subscribing to that as well as subscribing in whatever podcast app you want to use, like all those new podcast apps I mentioned, which are linked at Podcast Pontifications, Value for Value. Yeah, subscribe to the audio version and also get the email. That way you've got it all. It's nice and contained. You're not going to miss anything. Yeah, all of those things. All right, gang, I got to go to get this stuff done. That's a busy day for me. I'm onboarding a new client. I've got 2 other recording sessions I have to do. I'm a mess. So I'll see you tomorrow. their research. Just the fact. Just the fact. Just the facts, ma'am. Said no already. Try again. Just the facts, ma'am. Just the facts, ma'am. Said no podcast listener ever. Yet podcasting directories are filled with niched down podcasters proclaiming their expertise. Is that what your audience truly wants? Truly wants. truly wants. Today's episode is brought to you by Gumball, the premier marketplace to ease episode, UOFM, and tell them Evo sent you. Hello and welcome to another podcast Pontifications with me, Evo, on you. Well, I have a new way. Are you an expert? A better way to get his PhD to guide them to as they conduct their research. But I don't want pontifications.com/value for value. That's it. I shall be back tomorrow with yet another podcast, Pontifications. Cheers.